My ex-wife Harper and I were sitting around her family's Christmas dinner table when she casually dropped a bomb that changed everything. The Coleman family had gathered at Pierce and Quinn's house in Phoenix, and the conversation had turned to Harper's brother Camden and his failing auto repair shop. I was listening, nodding at the right moments, when Harper looked directly at me and said something I'll never forget. "You know, my family will always come first in every decision. Your second priority, maybe third." She said it so matter-of-factly, like she was commenting on the weather. No emotion, no hesitation, just a plain statement of fact while reaching for another dinner roll. I set down my fork and stared at her. "Good to know where I stand." She shrugged, not even looking up from her plate. "I'm just being honest. Blood is thicker than water, and they were here before you." That was it. No follow-up discussion, no attempt to soften what she'd just said. She went right back to her conversation with her sister Brooke about some crisis involving Camden's shop that I'd inevitably be expected to help solve financially. I finished eating in silence while the Coleman family talked around me like I wasn't even there. Harper had no idea she'd just handed me the blueprint for my future. The rest of Christmas dinner passed in a blur of forced conversation about Camden's mounting business debts, Pierce's concerns about the economy, and Quinn's endless suggestions for family fundraising efforts. Every few minutes, Harper would glance at me with the expectant look of someone waiting for me to volunteer my wallet for their cause. I smiled politely and said nothing, already calculating how much money I had access to and how quickly I could protect it. Later that night, after we got home and Harper fell asleep, I sat at my laptop and opened a new browser window. First stop was the website for Desert Community Credit Union, downtown. I'd been banking with our joint account at a big chain for years, but tonight I was shopping for something different, something that belonged only to me. The application process was simple: checking account, savings account, both in my name only. I used my work address at Southwest Electric for statements so there'd be no mail complications at home. Next, I pulled up a mortgage pre-approval calculator. I make decent money as an electrician. Not rich, but stable at $65,000 a year, plus my side business doing electrical work for private clients brought in another $15,000 annually. I'd been contributing to our joint savings for years, thinking we were building something together. Turns out, I was just funding the Coleman family's emergency backup account. By 2 a.m., I had appointments scheduled with 2 different banks and a meeting with a mortgage broker for the weekend. I also bookmarked several real estate websites and started browsing properties within my price range. The next morning, Harper rushed around getting ready for work, complaining about how Camden needed help with his business loan payments again. She grabbed her coffee and purse, kissed me on the cheek like nothing had changed, and headed out. "I'll probably be late tonight," she called over her shoulder, meeting Brooke and Camden to talk about the shop situation. "Sure thing," I replied, already mentally planning my lunch break errands. The week between Christmas and New Year's became my research period. While Harper spent hours on the phone coordinating family rescue efforts, I quietly gathered information. I learned that our joint savings contained $23,000, with roughly $15,000 coming from my contributions over the past 3 years. My 401k had grown to $45,000, and my credit score was excellent thanks to years of responsible financial management. Most importantly, I discovered that anything I purchased with my own documented separate funds would remain my property in Arizona as long as I could prove the source of the money and maintain clear separation. Every electrical job I'd done on weekends, every overtime shift, every dollar I could legitimately trace to my individual efforts would be protected. By New Year's Day, I had my new account set up and made my first deposit. Direct deposit would take a week to switch over, but I moved a modest $3,000 from our joint savings to start building my independence fund. Harper never checked the statements anyway, too busy managing everyone else's problems. January became my planning month. I told Harper I was picking up more overtime shifts, which wasn't entirely a lie. I was working weekends, but the extra money was going into my personal accounts. Every electrical job I did on the side, every overtime hour, every dollar I could legitimately claim as mine went into building my exit strategy. The beauty of being an electrician is that there's always work available. People need electrical repairs year-round, and they're willing to pay cash for quality work done on weekends. What Harper didn't know was that I'd been systematically building a client base of homeowners who appreciated my attention to detail and fair pricing. Saturday mornings, I told her I was meeting guys from work to watch games. Instead, I spent hours with Mason Stone, a mortgage broker, who walked me through exactly what I could afford and my timeline. Most people think they need perfect credit and a huge down payment, he said, reviewing my paperwork. But you've got steady income, decent savings, and no major debt. You could close on something within 60 days if you wanted. That evening, Harper was on the phone with her mother for 2 hours discussing Camden's failing shop and how they might need to help with his creditor payments. I sat on the couch researching investment strategies and retirement planning for single men, taking notes about tax-advantaged accounts and emergency fund requirements. "Are you even listening?" she asked, covering the phone. "Every word," I lied smoothly. "Sounds like Camden's in a tough spot." She nodded and went back to her conversation, assuming I'd be ready to write checks when the family meeting concluded. What she didn't realize was that I was taking detailed notes about their financial discussions, building a timeline of exactly how much money the Coleman family expected to extract from my accounts over the coming months. February brought the first real test of my new approach. Harper came home frustrated, tossing her real estate files on the counter harder than necessary. Camden's landlord was threatening to shut down the shop. He needed $5,000 by Friday, or he'd lose his lease and all his equipment. I looked up from the electrical manual I was studying for my contractor's license. "That's rough. What's his plan?" She stared at me like I'd asked what color the sky was. "We need to help him." "We?" "Yes, we. He's family." She pulled out her phone and started typing. "I already told Brooke we'd cover it. She's coordinating with Mom and Dad to see how much they can contribute." I set down my book and turned to face her. "When did we discuss this?" "We don't need to discuss helping family," she snapped. "It's what people do." "Some people," I corrected. "But those decisions involve our money, which means they involve both of us." She looked genuinely confused, like I was speaking a foreign language. "Since when do you have a problem helping my family?" "Since you made it clear where I rank in your priorities." That stopped her cold for a moment. She seemed to remember our Christmas conversation, but instead of addressing it, she deflected. "This isn't about priorities. This is about doing the right thing." "According to who?" "According to basic human decency." She was getting loud now, which meant she thought volume would win the argument. "My brother needs help and we can provide it." I went back to my manual. "I can't provide it." "What do you mean you can't?" "I mean exactly that. I don't have $5,000 available for your brother's rent." This was technically true. My emergency fund was earmarked for actual emergencies, and Camden's poor business planning didn't qualify. My new investment accounts were completely off limits for Coleman family bailouts. "That's ridiculous," she said. "We have money in savings." "You have money in savings. I've been reorganizing my finances." The confusion on her face was almost comical. She pulled out her phone and opened our banking app, probably to show me our joint account balance. When she saw the reduced amount, her expression shifted from confusion to shock. "Where did the money go?" "Into my personal accounts." "Your personal accounts." She said it like I'd told her I'd spent it on drugs. "Since when do you have personal accounts?" "Since I decided to prioritize myself in my own life." She stared at me for a long moment, trying to figure out if I was bluffing or genuinely serious. "You can't be serious right now. Camden needs help. Camden needs to learn financial responsibility, but that's between him and whoever decides to enable his next failure." "Enable?" Her voice cracked on the word. "This is my brother we're talking about." I know exactly who we're talking about. The same brother who needed help with his security deposit 8 months ago and his equipment financing before that, and his insurance payments before that. She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it because she knew I was right. This wasn't Camden's first crisis, and it wouldn't be his last. The Coleman family had been bailing him out for years, and each rescue only delayed the inevitable while draining everyone else's resources. "This is different," she said finally. "It's always different, but somehow it always involves our money. My family has always been there for us." "Your family has always been there for you. There's a difference." The argument continued for another hour, but the outcome was predetermined. Harper called her family meeting without me, and they scrambled to find alternative funding, Pierce and Quinn could contribute $800. Brooke and her husband Landon could manage $500. That left $3,700 unaccounted for, money they'd automatically assume would come from my accounts. When the Coleman family funding plan fell short, Harper tried a different approach. Thursday morning, she attempted reasoning instead of demanding. "Look, I know you're upset about what I said at Christmas. Maybe I could have phrased it better." The phrasing wasn't the problem. The sentiment was. She sat down across from me at the breakfast table. "Family is important to me. That doesn't mean you're not important too." "It means exactly that, actually. You said it yourself. Second priority, maybe third." "I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it?" She struggled for an answer, which told me everything I needed to know. She hadn't misspoken at Christmas dinner. She'd been honest for once, and now she was trying to backtrack because she needed something from me. "Can we table this discussion and focus on Camden's situation?" she asked. "There's nothing to table. You've been clear about your priorities, and I've adjusted mine accordingly." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm not funding your family's emergencies anymore." March brought panic. Camden's deadline was approaching fast, and the Coleman family was running out of options. Harper spent entire evenings on the phone, coordinating increasingly desperate schemes to raise money. They considered selling family heirlooms, borrowing against Pierce and Quinn's house, even starting a GoFundMe campaign. "Please," Harper said, standing in our bedroom doorway while I got dressed for work. "I'll pay you back." "With what money? Your real estate commissions barely cover your car payment and personal expenses. I'll pick up more listings. I'll figure it out." "You'll figure it out the same way Camden figured out his business plan." She flinched at that, but pressed on. "This is important to me." "I understand that, but your importance doesn't override my financial security." "Since when do you worry about financial security?" "Since I realized I might need to take care of myself someday." That afternoon, I put an offer on a house I'd been watching, a small 3-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, perfect for a single man with simple needs. The asking price was exactly what I could afford, and I'd saved enough for the down payment through my electrical side work. The seller accepted immediately. Camden ended up borrowing money from a payday loan place, which solved his immediate crisis and created a bigger long-term problem with devastating interest rates. But that wasn't my concern anymore. Harper spent the weekend alternating between silent treatment and passive-aggressive comments about my selfishness. I spent it researching home security systems and getting quotes for electrical upgrades the new house would need. Every dollar I invested in my future was a dollar that wouldn't be available for the next Coleman family emergency. April brought the inevitable family meeting. Instead of inviting me, Harper informed me that the Coleman family had decided everyone needed to contribute monthly to a family emergency fund to prevent future crises like Camden's shop disaster. "Your share would be $300 a month," she announced over breakfast, sliding a handwritten budget across the table. I looked at the numbers while sipping my coffee. They'd calculated contributions based on income, with my electrical salary making me the largest contributor by far. "That's nice of you to volunteer my money." "It's not volunteering, it's family responsibility." "Your family responsibility. I'm handling my own responsibilities." "What does that mean?" "It means I bought a house. Closing is next week." The silence that followed was deafening. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head, her coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips. "You bought a house? Without telling me?" "I bought a house with my money for myself. Same way you made decisions about your family without consulting me." "Where?" I gave her the address. "It's got excellent electrical panels and room for a workshop in the garage. Everything I need to expand my side business." "What about us?" "What about us? You've made your priorities clear. I've made mine clear." The house was perfect for my plans. Nothing fancy, but solid construction with good bones. I'd already arranged for utilities to be transferred into my name only. The electrical work I'd done on nights and weekends had paid for new appliances and a complete workshop setup in the garage. Everything in that house would belong entirely to me. Harper spent the rest of April in a state of shock, alternating between disbelief that I'd actually bought a house and frantic attempts to understand how I'd managed it financially. She went through our joint account statements with a fine-tooth comb, trying to trace where the money had gone. "You moved over $10,000 without telling me," she accused one evening, surrounded by printed bank statements. I moved money that came from my paychecks into my personal accounts. There's a paper trail documenting every transaction. Half of that money was from our joint income. Half of the money that went into our joint account came from your paychecks. The money I moved came specifically from my contributions to that account. She hired an accountant friend to review our finances, hoping to find some legal violation she could use against me. But I'd been careful. Every dollar I'd moved could be traced back to my individual income, and I'd maintained perfect documentation of the source of funds. May brought moving day. I'd rented a truck and recruited 2 guys from work to help with the heavy stuff. Harper sat on our old porch watching everything I owned disappear into boxes, her real estate career suffering as she spent her days trying to figure out legal ways to stop me. "You planned this for months," she said as they loaded my tools into the truck. "I planned this since Christmas dinner. You gave me plenty of time to organize my exit strategy. I never meant for things to go this far. You meant exactly what you said. Your family comes first always. I'm just making sure my family comes first too. I'm your family. You're my wife. My family is me." The moving process was surprisingly therapeutic. Each box that left our shared house was another step toward independence. My workshop tools, my electrical equipment, my books, my clothes, everything that truly belonged to me was coming with me to a place where no one else had claims or expectations. Brooke showed up as we were loading the last boxes, probably sent by Harper to guilt me into changing my mind. She watched in stunned silence as the guys carried out my workbench and tool cabinet. "This is really happening," she said to Harper. "Apparently so." "Where will you live?" Brooke asked me directly. "I just told you. I bought a house. I mean, what about Harper? What about her? She'll figure it out. The Coleman family is excellent at solving each other's problems." That evening, alone in my new house for the first time, I sat on my front porch with a beer and surveyed my domain. No family photos on the walls because I'd never considered Harper's family my family. No joint furniture because I'd bought everything myself over the years. No shared anything because I'd systematically separated myself from every joint obligation. The garage workshop was already set up and ready for business. I'd installed additional electrical outlets and proper lighting for detailed work. My client list was growing steadily, and several homeowners had already booked weekend projects. The extra income would accelerate my mortgage payments and build my investment accounts even faster. Harper called that night, the first of what would become increasingly desperate attempts to negotiate. "We can work this out," she said. "I know we can. There's nothing to work out. You have your priorities, I have mine. Can I come over? We need to talk face to face. You can come by tomorrow at 6 if you want, but there's nothing to negotiate." The next evening, Harper stood in my living room, looking around at a space that contained no trace of our shared life. I'd furnished it simply but comfortably, everything chosen for my preferences alone. "Nice place," she said reluctantly. "It serves my needs. How long? Have you been planning this?" "Since the night you explained my ranking in your priority system." She walked through the rooms, taking inventory. "You furnished it too. I bought what I needed, nothing fancy, but it's mine. What about our marriage? What about it? You've made your choice about what matters most. This is me making mine." The conversation lasted 2 hours, but the outcome was inevitable. Harper tried every angle: guilt, anger, promises of change, threats of legal action. Nothing worked because I'd built my escape route too carefully and her ammunition was too limited. When she finally left that night, I knew she'd be back with lawyers, but I also knew those lawyers would find nothing actionable. I'd protected myself legally, financially, and emotionally. The Coleman Family Emergency Fund would have to find a new contributor, and Harper would have to choose between supporting them and supporting herself. The divorce papers were filed the following Monday. Harper's real estate career was struggling in the Phoenix market downturn, and without my steady electrical income, she couldn't afford the house we'd shared. She moved back in with Pierce and Quinn, which solved their financial problems while creating new ones for her independence. I hired Vaughn Brooks, a divorce attorney recommended by my financial advisor. Vaughn specialized in asset protection and had seen plenty of cases where one spouse systematically separated finances before filing. He reviewed my documentation with professional admiration. "You've done this textbook perfect," he said, spreading my financial records across his conference table. "Separate accounts, separate funding sources, clear paper trail. Your ex-wife's attorney is going to have a very difficult time claiming any of this. What's she likely to get? Half of what was legitimately marital property when you separated your finances. Your house, your new accounts, your retirement, contributions since January. That's all protected as separate property. Harper hired the most aggressive divorce attorney she could afford, probably on Pierce and Quinn's recommendation. They filed immediate motions demanding half of everything, including my house and all my investment accounts. Her lawyer clearly didn't understand Arizona property law or hadn't bothered to review the financial documentation carefully. The settlement conference lasted 6 hours across 2 days. Harper sat across from me, looking exhausted, which made sense given what I'd heard through mutual acquaintances. Pierce and Quinn's house was crowded with 3 adults trying to share space designed for 2. Camden's business had officially failed, and the payday loan payments were destroying what little credit he had left. Your client has been systematically hiding assets from my client, Harper's attorney argued, waving bank statements dramatically. My client has been systematically protecting assets through legal financial planning, Vaughn replied calmly. There's a significant difference under Arizona law. The judge reviewed our financial records with methodical precision. Every account transfer was documented. Every source of funds was verified. Every timeline was consistent with my testimony about separating finances after the Christmas conversation. Mrs. Coleman, the judge said finally, your husband's financial separation appears to be legally sound. The house was purchased with funds from his separate accounts after the marital separation. His new investment accounts were funded exclusively with his post-separation income. Arizona recognizes separate property rights when properly documented. Harper's attorney tried several different approaches, but the math was unforgiving. She was entitled to half of the joint savings that remained when I moved money to my personal accounts, half of my 401k balance from our marriage date, and nothing else. No spousal support since she worked full-time. No claim to my house since it was purchased with separate funds. No access to my new investment accounts. The final settlement was exactly what Vaughn had predicted. Harper received $10,000 from the remaining joint savings, $15,000 from my 401k, and the right to keep her car and personal belongings. Total value, roughly $30,000 from a marriage that had lasted 4 years. This isn't fair, she said as we signed the papers in January, almost exactly 1 year after I'd started planning my exit. Fair is subjective, I replied. Legal is objective. Her new living situation with Pierce and Quinn created exactly the family dynamic she'd prioritized at Christmas dinner. The Coleman family was more united than ever, sharing resources and making collective decisions about everything from grocery shopping to utility bills. They'd achieved the close-knit family structure Harper had wanted, just without access to my income to fund it. Camden found work at a chain garage making $15 an hour, a significant step down from owning his own shop, but more stable than his previous business model. The payday loan payments consumed most of his income, creating a debt cycle that would take years to break. Pierce and Quinn sold their house and moved the entire family to a smaller rental property to reduce expenses. Meanwhile, my life improved dramatically. The electrical work I'd been doing on weekends became a legitimate side business with steady clients. Homeowners appreciated my attention to detail and fair pricing, leading to referral after referral. My income increased substantially as word spread about my quality work. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was promoted to lead electrician at Southwest Electric. My salary jumped to $75,000, and my side business was still bringing in another $20,000 annually. Without Harper's family emergencies draining my resources, I could invest aggressively in my future. The house became my sanctuary and workshop headquarters. I converted part of the garage into a professional electrical shop, complete with all the tools and equipment needed for major projects. The extra income accelerated my mortgage payments, and I was on track to own the house outright within 10 years. My investment accounts grew steadily with monthly contributions that would have been impossible while funding Coleman family emergencies. Robert Chang, my financial advisor, helped me maximize tax-advantaged retirement planning and build a diversified portfolio designed for long-term wealth accumulation. At this rate, you'll be financially independent by 55, he calculated during our quarterly review. Complete freedom to work because you want to, not because you have to. A year later, I ran into Brooke at a hardware store. She looked genuinely surprised to see me. probably because I looked healthier and more relaxed than I had in years. "How are you doing?" she asked hesitantly. "Very well, thanks. You managing?" "It's been a tough year for everyone." "I imagine it has been challenging." She hesitated, then asked the question I could see in her eyes. "Do you ever regret how things ended up?" "Never. Do you ever regret how they started?" "What do you mean?" "The assumption that my money was available for your family's problems. The expectation that I'd fund solutions for decisions I didn't make. We thought you cared about family." "I do care about family. I care about my family enough to protect myself from other people's poor planning." "That seems lonely." "It seems peaceful." The conversation ended there, but it crystallized something important for me. The Coleman family still didn't understand that their financial problems weren't my emergencies. They'd restructured their lives around the reality that my income was no longer available, which was exactly what they should have done years earlier. 2 years later, I'm living exactly the life I want. My house is paid off early thanks to aggressive payments from my electrical business profits. My investment accounts are growing steadily through consistent monthly contributions and compound interest. I bought a new truck last month, paid cash, no financing, no monthly payments hanging over my head. The electrical business has evolved beyond weekend side work into a legitimate operation. I've got steady contracts with 3 property management companies and a waiting list of homeowners who specifically request my services. The reputation I built through careful attention to detail and honest pricing has created more opportunities than I can handle alone. Harper remarried someone from her real estate office, a junior agent who seemed pleasant enough when I saw them briefly at our final court appearance. I hope he understands what he signed up for, but that's not my concern anymore. Her new husband will learn the same lesson I learned about Coleman family priorities. His choice is the same choice I faced: enable the pattern or protect himself from it. I chose protection, and I've never been happier. My mornings start with coffee on my back porch, planning the day's work without interruptions from family emergency phone calls. My evenings end with reading or working on electrical projects in my garage shop, building something productive instead of funding other people's failures. The financial independence I've achieved feels different than I expected. It's not just about having money in the bank, though that security is important. It's about having complete control over my own decisions. When opportunities arise, I can pursue them. When problems occur, I can solve them without consulting a committee of people whose interests conflict with mine. 6 months ago, I was offered a partnership opportunity with another electrician who wanted to expand his business. In my previous life, that conversation would have required extensive discussions with Harper about risk tolerance, family financial obligations, and Coleman family approval. Instead, I evaluated the opportunity on its merits, decided it aligned with my goals, and signed the partnership agreement the same week. The business partnership has been profitable beyond expectations. My income now exceeds $95,000 annually between my Southwest Electric salary, the partnership, and independent contracting work. More importantly, every dollar I earn belongs entirely to me, with no hidden claims from extended family emergencies. Last month, I received a text from Harper asking if we could meet for coffee. I ignored it, the same way I've ignored every attempt at contact over the past year. There's nothing to discuss. She made her choice about priorities at Christmas dinner, and I made mine about self-preservation afterwards. Both of us are living with the consequences of those choices. Through mutual acquaintances, I learned that Camden finally got his financial life stabilized, though it took bankruptcy and years of debt consolidation. Pierce and Quinn adjusted to their smaller rental house and simplified lifestyle. Brooke's marriage survived the financial stress of supporting the extended family, though apparently just barely. The Coleman family adapted to life without access to my income, which proves they were perfectly capable of solving their own problems when forced to do so. They simply preferred using other people's money when it was available. Removing that option forced them to develop actual solutions instead of temporary bailouts. My social life has improved dramatically without the constant drain of Coleman family obligations. I've joined a weekend hiking group and started attending electrical industry networking events. The people I meet now see me as an individual rather than an extension of someone else's family problems. Dating occasionally enters my mind, but I'm in no hurry. The peace of living without relationship drama or financial manipulation is something I want to protect. If I eventually meet someone who understands boundaries and maintains her own independence, that could be interesting. But I'm completely content with my current situation. The workshop in my garage has become a source of genuine satisfaction. Building electrical systems, solving complex wiring problems, and creating functional solutions for clients gives me a sense of accomplishment that was missing during my marriage. Every project completed successfully belongs entirely to me, with no family committee claiming credit or expecting profit sharing. Financial planning has become a hobby rather than a source of stress. My retirement accounts are growing faster than projected. My house equity is building rapidly, and my emergency fund could cover 2 years of expenses if necessary. The security of complete financial independence removes anxiety about the future and allows me to focus on opportunities rather than obligations. That Christmas dinner conversation was the best gift Harper ever gave me, though she'll never understand why. It forced me to confront the reality that I was optional in her priority system while being mandatory in her funding requirements. Once I understood that dynamic clearly, the solution became obvious. I built a life where I come first in my own decisions. It's exactly what I always wanted, and exactly what she taught me I needed. The electrical work keeps me busy and profitable. The house stays quiet and organized, and my bank account stays full and protected from other people's emergencies. No family meetings about who needs money this month. No guilt trips about blood being thicker than water. No committee votes required to make decisions about my own property or future. Just me, my tools, and a future that belongs entirely to me. Best Christmas present I ever received was finding out I wasn't really family. Made it real easy to stop acting like one. Sometimes the most valuable gift someone can give you is showing you exactly who they are and where you stand. Because once you see the truth clearly, you finally know what you need to do about it. The moment someone tells you where you rank in their priorities is the moment you should start ranking them in yours.